Yeah, it actually.
I got that on camera. Send it.
Test, test. Well, that worked. How's my table doing down there, front and center? Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming. We're going to get the program off the ground here. And I got to tell you, I was just chatting with my friendly table there back in the middle. And like, are you fearful of getting up in front of people and speaking? And I'm like, no, not really. The biggest fear I have right now is to eat or not to eat. So I ate. And you know there was salad. And of course, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be up there and there's gonna be that awful piece of green piece of salad in between my teeth and nobody's gonna tell me. So that was the biggest fear that I had today. But for those of you that don't know myself here, I'm Eric Snyder. I'm the executive director of the foundation. And some of you I know, there's a lot of familiar faces and it's so good to see you. And for the families that I'm meeting for the first time, welcome. Welcome to Jett Foundation. I think this is what we do best. We bring people together and we're in the moment with our families. So welcome everybody. I promise I won't take too much of your time. You don't want to hear me speak. We've got a great program in front of you. But I wanted to start with the many thanks. Thank you all for joining us today for our 11th World Duchenne Awareness Day event. All of us at the foundation, thank you. All of us at the foundation couldn't be more overjoyed to have you with us today, to raise awareness, to break bread, and just to be together. I think Catherine said it earlier, is like there's nothing that can replace being in person. And we are so happy to be back on the ground with you here today, bringing awareness to this community and to everybody that's a part of it. A special thanks to my staff. I gotta tell you, there's a ton of planning that goes in and day out to get this event to happen. And we really, quite honestly, start September 8th every year, the day after. And we start meeting weekly. We're hoping, like, when's the theme going to be put out in front of the community so we can figure out how we're going to align with it. And I got to tell you, as an executive director, you don't get an opportunity often to formally thank your staff in front of a large group. So at this time, can I have my staff stand up, be recognized? Thank all of you for everything that you do every day. Without them, we wouldn't be here today. If you saw, you paid attention there's gray shirts. How many? We're up to a fierce crew of 12 serving a national agenda, which is to provide advocacy, awareness, support for families across the U.S. Couldn't be more proud to be alongside, and that's huge for you to know about me. I serve alongside my staff, not above them, and we carry a torch very high for this community. We wake up every day thinking about how we can better serve and better support our families in the Duchenne community. Today we have another part of leadership here. I have a board member, Adrian, if you could stand up. Adrian, thanks for coming. And we do have our founder of Jett Foundation on her way, Christine McSherry, and Jett is with us today. So, hey, it all started there. And it started 23 years ago, and we won't shock her when she walks in, but a huge applaud for Christine and family for all that they've done to create a foundation and be with it for all these years. So it's an honor to be alongside her as well. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you to our sponsors. 33 sponsors this year for this event. That's a mix of industry partners and other advocacy organizations, which is fantastic. Sometimes, unfortunately, we don't all play well in the sandbox together, but we are making strides to do that and be alongside each other. Without our sponsors, a lot of this would not happen as well. So we appreciate all of you, staff, our board, the community coming together. Last but not least, our families. So appreciate seeing you. So appreciate you all coming to join us today. You're the inspiration behind everything that we do at the foundation. We thank you so much for being here. So there's a theme this year, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the shirts you're wearing. Some of you probably just put it on. It's a nice red shirt, hopefully comfortable. But there's a quote on there by Judy Heumann. And the quote reads, "Disability only becomes a tragedy when society fails to provide the things we need to lead our lives." Provide the things we need to live our lives. To me, that quote summarizes in a nutshell everything Jett Foundation does for Duchenne families day in and day out. Two of our cornerstone programs, the Jett Giving Fund, those of you in this room likely know what it is, and our Camp Promise, I believe you would think, and I think you would agree, I think, that it illustrates this so perfectly. Our Jett Giving Fund, for those of you that are not aware of what it is, it's an arm of support for families. We have an accessible vehicle fund, we have an emergency fund, and we have a medical equipment fund. Over the years, we've raised $3 million in those funds. That doesn't come to Jett Foundation, that goes right back to the community. When we talk about accessibility and equality, if you don't have a vehicle to get your family together and go out to the store together, go to a meeting together, get to school, get to any type of program, it's not accessible. Sometimes life just gets in the way. There's emergent needs always. We provide a fund that allows families to have some reprieve for everyday needs. Because you know what? Life's not accessible if you don't know how to put food on the table. Life's not accessible if you can't pay one bill because you're borrowing from another bill to pay it. Which one do I pay? So we're really proud of that fund, and we believe that it further helps families get connected and get involved in other ways. Lastly, small medical equipment. Who in this room likes to hang out in the insurance world? It's not easy to navigate, and insurance doesn't cover everything. So we like to step in and help families in that way as well. Can't promise. I'm supporting the socks today. Can't promise socks. How many campers has Jett Foundation served over the years in our Camp Promise? So these are, anybody throw out a number? Don't speak up all at once. I will call on some of you in the back in the middle. 300 is out there. Anybody got a greater number? Bingo. We've served over 1,000 campers. 1,000 campers, think about that. And what's unique about Camp Promise? No upper age limit. We have, our youngest campers could be 6, and we have no upper age limit. I was in Colorado last year with 3 brothers, 38, 35, and 33. There's nothing like being a part of the community, being a part of a program that allows this community to come together with to share experiences with each and every one of them, because they know what they're going through. They want to build connection, they want to build support systems, and we help provide that. Amazing program. I'll take any volunteers out of this audience and we can talk later. I think simply putting it, Jett Foundation helps meet individuals and families where they are at, helping provide them with things they need to live a happy and healthy life. With that said, I'm going to pass the baton mic over to Alexa, my director of programs, who's been instrumental. You probably know her as the face of a lot of our community programs. She's got a quick little comment to make, and then we'll introduce our keynote speaker. So with that, I'll send it over to you, Alexa. Thank you.
I'm much shorter than Eric, as he likes to point out. But thank you, Eric. I am so proud to be here today. It is so nice to be able to connect with so many families, new and return. I'm going to cry because, it's such an incredible place to be and to be able to be all together. And, bringing community members and pharma and families and staff together in one space is not something we get to do all the time, so it's really, really special to me. But, I am so proud of everything that Jett Foundation is doing for families and the direct service programs that we're able to provide. It's one of the reasons that I chose Jett Foundation and chose to work for Jett Foundation, because I think direct service programming is so incredibly important. But what Eric didn't mention, and I think we can also agree is a critical component of helping families today, is our support groups and our educational programs. So while today is an event, it is also a, source of connection, community, and knowledge. And I think this journey and what I've heard can be extremely isolating without those things. So Jett Foundation is really eager to work with individuals and families to provide education and give a voice to individuals, families, and the community. We also feel it's important to provide connection for families throughout every stage of the journey. We find newly diagnosed families that are finding us and being able to connect them with other families who have an understanding of what they're going through and can support them when they need that support. There are questions, and there's so much information out there in the community, and you just sometimes need someone to connect with to say, am I on the right track? And everybody's journey is different, but being able to support each other in those questions and in that journey is so, so important. We also find people who maybe aren't newly diagnosed but are finally ready to connect with the community, to provide connections at every stage in the journey, and to provide connections with people who have either gone through a similar journey, are at the same stage in your journey, or maybe even a little further along, I think is so important, because those pieces are critical to understand. So with that, again, I think this event itself embodies all of those things. We are connecting, we are coming together as community, and we're sharing knowledge. So with that, we are so grateful to have our keynote speaker who is helping us bring all of those things together today, and who truly embodies this year's World Duchenne Awareness Day theme, Raise Your Voice. So Sam Safford is a 26-year-old Toastmaster and an advocate for quality of life and accessibility. He is living with Duchenne muscular dystrophy and has firsthand experience with the challenges and triumphs that come with living with a disability. Sam's been fortunate enough to attend what Eric was talking about, our Can't Promise program, and that allowed him to connect with others, share similar experiences, and gain valuable support and resources. Through his involvement with Jett, Sam has become passionate about empowering individuals with disabilities to fully participate in society. He believes that everyone deserves equal opportunities to share their voices, pursue their passions, and reach their full potential. As a Toastmaster, Sam has honed his public speaking skills, which he's going to use today, and uses his platform to inspire and educate others about the importance of accessibility, inclusion, and empathy. He strives to be a role model for others with disabilities, showing that with determination and support, anything is possible. Sam's message today, and I hope you'll agree, is one of hope, resilience, and empowerment. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Sam up to the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, distinguished guests, and most importantly, my fellow Duchenne warriors. Good afternoon, and happy World Duchenne Awareness Day. Today, we gather to shine a light on a disease that affects thousands of lives, including mine. I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Jett Foundation for hosting this incredible event and for their tireless efforts to uplift our community. My family and I have had the privilege to experience the power of their work firsthand. From the unforgettable adventures at Camp Promised East to the invaluable resources and connections provided through their workshops and webinars, and to the remarkable Gals for Cal. Your dedication and fundraising prowess have made a staggering impact, nearing the $1 million milestone. Your selflessness and commitment to our community is a brilliant example of the power of compassion and collective action. I am here before you, honored and hopeful, and exceptionally grateful for the opportunity to raise my voice, motivating others to join us in this fight. Thanks to the Jett Foundation, we have this excellent platform to raise awareness, to educate, and to inspire action. I'm beyond blessed to be part of this community. Let's make today count. Let's make our voices heard. And let's work together. I truly believe the first step to seeing breakthroughs in our community is when we choose to have a humble attitude. Living with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, I faced many unique challenges, but I've gained many blessings that I thank the Lord for. I remember the isolating feeling of being a teenager in high school, struggling to connect with peers, sitting alone at lunch tables, while navigating the physical, emotional, and spiritual exhaustion that comes with living with Duchenne. It seemed like opportunities and accessibility were far out of reach, leaving me feeling like I didn't measure up. But I've come to realize that my circumstances, though difficult, are vital to my very life. My perspective is distinct, and I can leverage my platform to make a meaningful impact. By raising my voice and spreading awareness, I aim to break down barriers and inspire a sense of belonging, ensuring that others with Duchenne and other disabilities don't feel alone or limited in their potential. Embracing my uniqueness, I desire to use my circumstances for change, promoting a more accessible and compassionate society for all. Now, let's not beat around the bush. This life is hard. Whether you live in a mansion or are struggling to make ends meet, there is absolutely no one who goes unscathed on this side of heaven. It's especially difficult when you have Duchenne muscular dystrophy, or any other disability for that matter. However, there are ways to shift the quality of life by putting certain stressors at ease and allowing for joy to enter in. A major component that enhances our quality of life is when we have access to tools to help us with daily tasks. We need access to vans, beds, wheelchairs, breathing devices, and caregivers. But assistive technology, like button-activated door openers, can help promote greater independence. With the help of this innovative technology, my brother gained a newfound sense of independence while living away at college for 4 years. And it made a significant difference in his experience there. It's also crucial that we let businesses know of the barriers to our independence, such as tight entrances and elevated door thresholds. We should encourage them to install supports like ramps, lifts, and elevators, which upgrades our quality of life and helps the aging population at that. Recently, I went to a used bookstore with my friend in Burlington. Although it looked accessible, my Easy Lock got caught, causing me to block the entrance. Thankfully, we always keep a small rubber ramp and 2 rubber planks in our van, thanks to Kim D'Amato. After some maneuvering, we were able to enter. You see, though, when barriers like these are present at businesses, it prevents us from participating in activities and events that we are just as much deserving of. It also affects other customers and creates an obstacle for them. Imagine being able to enter a building without struggling, or being able to access a college classroom unassisted. The average person doesn't have to think about these things, but they make huge differences in our lives. By providing access to tools and removing barriers, we can promote far exceeding independence for individuals with Duchenne and disabilities in general. What's more, this is not just about creating a more navigable world. It's about normalizing the fact that we are all created fearfully and wonderfully made by God, with different strengths and talents. For our importance is not based on our level of physical, cognitive, or developmental ability. Now, accessibility is a fundamental aspect that we need to see more in society to improve it. By weaving accessibility into the very fabric of our communities, we create a world where accommodations are no longer seen as exceptions, but as standard features of our shared spaces. Undoubtedly, supports being put in place are important, very important, but they do not make people have kind attitudes and will not always guarantee us with DMD will feel welcomed and accepted into society. It's frustrating and downright disheartening when people pity us because of our disabilities. And sadly, we may not change every single person's perspective, but what we can do is challenge their outlooks and encourage them to see beyond our visible differences. Because we are more than our disabilities, and we all have a valuable place in society, deserving of respect and equal opportunities. Those who pity us should recognize that a person's worth and potential cannot be defined by their appearance or physical cognitive ability. Just because someone may have an obvious physical or cognitive challenge, that doesn't mean that they are limited in their capabilities or lack the capacity to live a fulfilling life. I believe by sharing our stories is how we work to break down stigmas and foster a more empathetic and empowering environment for everyone. Therefore, what we need to strive for is the motivation of others, leading to a change in their hearts. In their hearts. Back in 1990, 34 years ago, for you young warriors, that's basically the Dark Ages, the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed. At a celebration reception honoring this act, disability rights activist Paul G. Hearn, the chairman of ADA committee, and a man with brittle bone disease, concluded by saying, "This law will not change the heart of the employer, the maitre d' in the restaurant, those in the building industry, or the heart of the bus driver. But here's to changed hearts." With this sentiment, we can confidently proclaim that we have value and we are a benefit to society. We also must recognize that true inclusion goes beyond physical accessibility. It requires a shift in perspective, a willingness to listen, and a commitment to understanding. That's why we need to approach this journey with humility, acknowledging the value and worth we bring to the table. Johnny Erickson Tata, who's a Christian author, disability rights activist, and a woman with quadriplegia, stated, "They say that access is having a ramp to the table. And mainstreaming, that's having a seat at the table. Inclusion is having a voice at the table. But true embrace, that's being heard at the table. People with disabilities will only be heard and embraced when character is transformed on a personal and on a national level. By doing so, we inspire others to see us in a new light, to recognize our prominent qualities, and to join us in creating a society where everyone